The cold October air bit at my exposed skin. It was the image on my sister's phone, though, that truly froze me. Sarah, my bubbly neighbor, looked radiant as a Katrina. Her painted smile was inches from a tall, dark Dracula. A flash of silver glitter, like a tiny constellation, clung to the Dracula's cheek. My stomach dropped. "Did you see Sarah and Mark?" my sister Chloe read aloud. Her voice was a low, excited murmur. The neighborhood chat was already a dumpster fire. Mark, Susan's Mark, my best friend's husband. A sick dread coiled in my gut. The glitter, that was it. Chloe, ever the fairy enthusiast, loved iridescent cosmetic glitter. A small, distinctive pot of it sat on her vanity. It was a twin to the shimmering dust now clinging to the Dracula's cheek. The blurry timestamp on the photo, 2231, placed it squarely on our porch. It was during our Halloween party. But Dracula wasn't an uncommon costume, was it? A whisper of doubt, a desperate attempt at reason, clung to me. Then came the bus ticket. Susan, her face a mask of bewildered hurt, had pulled it from Mark's jacket pocket. 23:05. An impossible timeline if he'd been on our porch 20 minutes earlier. Unless he'd left immediately, in a rush. The lie hung heavy in the air between us. The betrayal pulsed like a bruise. And it was the glitter. Always the glitter. "We need to talk," I told Chloe. My voice was barely a whisper. She looked up. Her phone was still clutched in her hand. The Katrina and Dracula were frozen in their embrace. "About what?" she asked. A flicker of something unreadable crossed her eyes. "About this," I said, pointing to the image, "and about you." The next morning, the confrontation began. Not with Susan, not yet, but with Chloe. We sat across from each other at our kitchen table. The scent of stale coffee and unasked questions hung between us. "You were there," I stated, not a question. "You saw them." Chloe shifted uncomfortably. Her gaze darted to the window. "It was a party, Maya. People were having fun." Her tone was defensive, too defensive. "Fun or something more?" I pushed, my voice gaining strength. She finally met my eyes, a tremor in her lip. He was just being friendly. "Friendly?" I scoffed. I remembered the angle, the intimacy of the pose. With Mark, Susan's husband, the man who supposedly left our party before 11 p.m.? The bus ticket in my purse felt like a lead weight. Chloe's face paled. "I don't know anything about a bus ticket, Maya." Her denial sounded hollow. The second confrontation was with Mark. It was a calculated ambush at the community garden. He was meticulously pruning a rose bush, humming an old eagle song. "Mark," I began. My voice was steady, betraying none of the turmoil inside. He turned, a friendly smile on his face. "Maya, good to see you. How was the party?" His casualness was infuriating. "The party was memorable," I replied, letting the word hang in the air. His smile faltered, just a fraction. "Oh, anything particular?" I pulled out my phone. The Katrina Dracula photo was ready. "This, Mark, this is particular." I held it up. He stared at it, his face draining of color. The silver glitter on his cheek in the photo seemed to mock his composure. That's just a costume, Maya. It was Halloween. Harmless fun," he stammered, his eyes darting around, searching for an escape. "Harmless? And the bus ticket in your pocket, stamped 2305? Was that harmless too, when you were supposedly still on our porch at 2231? His jaw clenched. The humming stopped. My moral decision came with a gut-wrenching ache. Susan deserved the truth, even if it meant shattering her world. But how much truth? And from whom? I held the power to detonate a bomb. The shrapnel would hit everyone. Chloe, Sarah, Mark, Susan, even myself. The cost was clear. The potential loss of a treasured friendship, the disruption of our tight-knit neighborhood.
But the cost of silence felt heavier, a festering wound of complicity. I knew I had to tell Susan, but I would do it gently, privately. I would focus on what I knew for certain, not on speculation. I would keep Chloe's involvement and the glitter's specific origin to myself for now. That secret felt like a heavy stone in my pocket, a future burden I was choosing to carry. I walked to Susan's house later that day. My hands felt clammy. The leaves crunched under my feet, the sound too loud in the quiet street. I rang her doorbell. My heart beat like a drum. "Maya?" Susan answered, her voice tired. She pulled open the door. Her eyes looked puffy. "Come in." We sat in her living room. The air was thick with unspoken grief. I took a deep breath. "Susan," I started, my voice soft. "I saw something at the party." She looked at me, her expression unreadable. "What did you see?" I chose my words carefully. "I saw Mark with Sarah." I paused, letting it sink in. "They were close." Susan's eyes welled up. A tear traced a path down her cheek. "How close?" she whispered. I showed her the photo on my phone. She took it, her fingers trembling. She stared at the image, her breath catching. The tiny glitter on Mark's cheek seemed to glow in the dim light. "He told me he left early," she said. "He said he had a work call."
The photo was taken at 10:31 p.m., I said gently. "And you found a bus ticket in his jacket, right?" She nodded, clutching the phone. "For 11:05 p.m. I didn't mention the glitter's source or Chloe's presence. Those were details for another day, if ever. My focus was on Susan and the core betrayal." Susan finally looked up from the phone. Her face was streaked with tears. "I need to talk to him," she said, her voice firm despite the tears. "I need to know everything." I offered to stay, but she shook her head. "I need to do this alone." I hugged her tight, feeling her slender body shake. As I left, the cold air still bit at my skin, but now a different kind of ache settled in my chest, a mix of sadness and a small sense of relief. Update 1. Susan confronted Mark. He initially denied everything, sticking to his story about leaving early. When Susan presented the photo and the bus ticket, he grew silent. The tension in their home was palpable, affecting everyone who knew them. Our neighborhood chat, usually a source of small talk, went quiet for a few days, then erupted with speculation. Update 2. Mark moved out of their house 2 weeks later. Susan is staying with her sister for a while. The party host policy for our annual Halloween event is being reviewed by the Neighborhood Association, with new rules about social media sharing and explicit consent for photos. It won't bring back what was lost, but it's a small step towards rebuilding trust. The empty swing creaked softly. Leaves blew across the porch. I sat there, watching the autumn afternoon. The memory of telling Susan still sat heavy. I had pulled out the phone. I showed her the photo first. Her face, usually so full of life, just went blank. Then it crumbled. I had never seen such a silent grief. It was worse than any shouting. She didn't yell at me, she didn't blame me. But our friendship, strong for years, changed that day. It didn't break, but it bent. It was now shadowed by what I had told her. Mark moved out a week later. The whole neighborhood buzzed with whispers. People gave knowing glances. Sarah, surprisingly, confronted me. It was at the grocery store. Her face was tight with anger. "You had no right," she hissed. Her voice was low and furious. It was a mistake, a moment. I met her eyes. I did not flinch. "Susan deserved to know, Sarah. We all make choices." She scoffed. She turned away. That was the end of any neighborly pleasantries. My decision had a real cost. Some people quietly withdrew. Others showed open hostility. Chloe finally confessed to me. The glitter was hers. She had given a small vial to Sarah that evening. It was a fairy dust for her Katrina costume. The realization hit me. I felt a fresh wave of guilt. I had protected Chloe, but her own conscience had done the work. The cost of that secret was lifted. A quiet understanding grew between us. We both acknowledged the messy, imperfect parts of being human. Susan started therapy. She slowly found a strength I hadn't seen before. She still lives in the house. She cultivates her garden with a new focus. Our friendship is slowly mending. We share tentative texts. We have shared cups of coffee. The neighborhood still feels like a community, but it's also a place with new understanding. We all know about the hidden currents beneath the surface. My principled stand was painful, but it felt necessary. The truth, raw and unvarnished, had a cost, but it also built the groundwork for a more authentic future for us all. Later that month, the neighborhood association meeting was packed. The usual small talk was gone. Everyone felt the tension. Mr. Henderson, the association president, cleared his throat. "Okay, folks, let's talk about the Halloween party policy." He looked around the room. I sat next to Mrs. Rodriguez, who nodded encouragement. Susan was there too. She sat in the front row, straight-backed. The old policy simply stated, "No offensive costumes." That was it. Now people wanted more. Mr. Henderson read the proposed changes. First, a clear social media clause. Any photos shared must be with explicit consent of all visible individuals. A few murmurs went through the room. Second, a designated no-photo zone for those who prefer privacy. This was a big change. People often just snapped pictures. And third, Mr. Henderson continued, host responsibility. Hosts must ensure their guests understand these new rules. This part felt aimed directly at what happened. It wasn't about blaming, it was about preventing. A man near the back spoke up. "What if someone breaks the rule? What then?" Mr. Henderson looked grim. "Violations will result in a suspension from community events for 1 year." The room went quiet. This was serious. This wasn't just a suggestion, it was a rule. The discussion was long. People voiced opinions. Some thought it was too strict. Others felt it was overdue. Susan spoke calmly. "These rules won't undo what happened to me," she said. Her voice was steady. "But they might stop it from happening to someone else." Her words carried weight. Many people knew her story. They saw the pain it caused. The vote passed. It wasn't unanimous, but it passed. It was a public acknowledgement. Our community had to do better. The rules were a clear consequence. Everyone would see them. Everyone would know. This was a direct result of what happened with Mark and Sarah, and with that glitter. It was a public payoff. It was a step toward rebuilding trust, not just for Susan, but for everyone. After the meeting, I walked home in the cool evening. The streetlights flickered on. The air was crisp. I felt a strange mix of exhaustion and quiet satisfaction. The public policy change was good. It felt like progress. But the deeper impact, the quiet aftershock, resonated differently. I stopped at Susan's house. A faint light glowed from her living room. Her car was gone. She must have gone straight to her sister's. I still thought about Mark. I saw him move his boxes. He looked smaller than I remembered. Sarah still avoided my gaze at the grocery store. I saw Chloe yesterday. She looked lighter. We talked about silly things. The weight of her secret had finally lifted. My phone vibrated. It was a text from Susan. "Coffee tomorrow? My place?" I smiled. "Sounds good," I typed back. A small, quiet act of mending. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, but it was real. Our friendship, though changed, was slowly, carefully coming back together. The truth had cost us something, but it had also made space for something real, something lasting. Update 1. The new Halloween party policy was implemented this year. The designated no-photo zone was clearly marked, and all attendees received a flyer outlining the social media consent rules. There were no incidents, and the atmosphere, while a little more careful, felt respectful. Update 2. Susan's garden won the Neighborhood Beautification Award. She often shares photos of it on the community page. Sometimes I still see glitter on my sister's clothes, but now it's just glitter. Betrayal's echo lingers, but so does the quiet strength of truth. How do we navigate the fallout when our choices ignite an irreversible chain reaction?